Hello, folks, and welcome to Background Noise. We're back with the second cup. Actually, it's the first cup of the DLC, but I'm doing it second. The Egg Cup, which sounds pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. So I think 3 of these are retro tracks. Maybe just... No, these 2 of them are. Just like the other one. And I picked Tanuki Mario for this. I skipped the character choice thing because it takes so long and it's so boring. Unlike my videos, which I know are just pure entertainment. So same as the last video I did on the other Grand Prix, I'm going to be giving trivia on each of these tracks as I go through them, so you can learn a little bit more about them and the creation of these tracks, which is what I'm known for. Anyway, so... Oh, great. I haven't used this cart before, or this character, so I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go, but I like the boost effects on the little blue falcon there. So this track is actually in the shape of Yoshi, which a lot of people don't realize. Even though it shows it at the beginning from a bird's eye view, and you can clearly see that it looks like it's in the shape of the Yoshi, that's just what a lot of people assume the track is, when in fact the real track itself is actually, it's located in a completely different area. So this track, much like many of the tracks developed for these games, was directed and created by the series creator, Steven Spielberg. Nintendo wanted to take a new direction, a new cinematic direction with their Mario Kart franchise. They felt that it needed to be reinvigorated. I just got into first! Oh my gosh! And so they called on Spielberg to come in, and he wanted to change all of the carts into walkie-talkies. So there was a kind of a long back and forth with Nintendo of Japan and Steven Spielberg on the creation of how are we going to do these tracks. He wanted to make them all CG. And there's rumors that he was collaborating with George Lucas. Now, George Lucas was never credited for doing any of this stuff, but it's more than possible. Lately, Lucas has been kind of appearing in random subsects of the entertainment community, because it doesn't seem like anybody will hire him anymore. So anyway, Spielberg was working on this track for 3 weeks, just on this one track alone. And he came up with all these elaborate designs and these different things. It was going to take you through an alien spaceship, was a very prominent design that he had come up with. See what his horn sounds like. Oh, that's neat. Reminds me of my childhood. All the beatings I received and being locked in a closet. Things that have taken years to repress. I don't know why I'm reliving them now. Anyway, Spielberg working on this track. 3 weeks, it comes down to the wire. Nintendo says, look, Spielberg, we gave you $45 million to design one track for us. We need to see it. So what did he do? He went back to one of the older Mario Kart games and just pulled his track out and said, here, remake this one. He ended up getting an Emmy for that. And Haley Joel Osment actually did the motion capture for all of the racers, for this track specifically. You'll probably notice anytime that I do that little boost over a jump, or the win animations, which you haven't seen yet, but you will in a few seconds, are all motion captured by Haley Joel Osment. So it's really interesting stuff that they went. So right there, that waving and the head tilts, that's Haley Joel Osment. Look at that mustache. Just looks good enough to eat. So yeah, a lot of history behind that track. A lot of people don't realize, because Nintendo doesn't really talk about the creation of their games. They feel that it kind of disillusions the game itself, like if you watch behind the scenes for a movie. Anyway, Excite Bike Arena! This track, famously, as you probably know, is from the new Smash Brothers game. There's an assist trophy in that game called Excite Bike Rider, which is original to Smash Brothers. And it was so well received in the early Smash demos, as well as the 3DS version, which is currently out at a retailer near probably one of your friends or your grandmother, that they decided, hey, let's put this into Mario Kart 8 as downloadable content, and they did. So this is it. It's very faithful to the assist trophy. You can see there's the guy right there. There's the assist trophy on the right. He's got his finger up in the air. The rest of this, I assume, is completely original. The boosting, the oil... Actually, it doesn't look like... It's supposed to be oil, I thought, but I don't know. It's mud. It's either mud or something else that they haven't cleaned off the track. This is a pretty simple track, but it's got tons of jumping in it, which makes it awesome, I guess. I've heard that this game is infinitely more fun to... Wow. to play with your friends. Of course, I can't put that to the test, but I'm gonna have to take your word for it. You can see the assist trophy up there in multiple colors. It's been rumored for a while that Excitebike Guy is going to be in the next Smash Brothers. Now, that's namely because Little Mac was an assist trophy in Brawl, and then became a full character in the Wii U version, which, by the way, the best Smash names I've ever heard. Anyway, the creation of this track. I'm sorry, I should really get into that. So, Masahiro Sakurai, when he was developing the 3DS and Wii U versions of Smash Brothers, he put the Excitebike Guy in as an assist trophy. And as per usual, very well received, as I mentioned earlier. And Shigeru Miyamoto approached him in a men's bathroom and said, Sakurai, how do you go to the bathroom when you have severe micro tears in all the tissue in both your arms to the point that you can't even use them? And of course, Sakurai was standing there with his assistant that had pulled his pants down for him because he couldn't use his arms. Sakurai couldn't say anything because at the time he actually had suspenders in his mouth. And that was how he was going to the bathroom without the use of his hands. He had his assistant there to help him, but he would use a pulley system, kind of like a marionette, but with suspenders, in order to remove his pants and do what he needed to do. Okay, so that's the end of the Excitebike track. Definitely one of the original ones are easily the best of the new tracks for this DLC. Hands down. It's just fun. It's atmospheric. And, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the only track in this that's actually Mario-themed that's new was the ice one from the other video that I did from the Triforce Cup. Oh, and I guess this one's original, too. Because, hey, get your foot out of your mouth there. If you know what I mean. It's a turn of phrase. I don't literally have my foot in my mouth. So, this track, very interesting. This track was inspired by the Chinese pavilion at Epcot in Disney World, Florida, in Kissimmee, which is near Orlando. So, if you've ever been to the Chinese pavilion at Epcot, you'll know this track inside and out. It's exactly the same. It's the same music. It's there's a little kart racing area that they have in the pavilion. If you watch the video on China, the 360, like the screens all around. Hey, that was a cool taunt! Turning into a little Tanuki statue. Then you'd know that when you come out, there's a little track ride that you can get pictures taken in and race around a Chinese market. Exactly the same as this. Not as extravagant. The dragon in the actual one, in the actual pavilion in real life, opens and closes its mouth, which has resulted in a lot of accidents. It gets shut down quite frequently. So, Shigeru Miyamoto went on a trip to China. And while he was there, he realized, wow, this country has some serious economic problems regarding the gap between rich and poor. So he thought, you know what I should do? I shouldn't stay here in the real China, because it's too dangerous for a Japanese guy like me, and Chinese people hate Japanese people, as do Koreans. They also hate Japanese people. So he decided, I'm going to go to Disney World instead. That way I can see China in a safer environment, and the worst I have to worry about there are the Chinese acrobats and the food. So he went to the Chinese pavilion, and sure enough, saw this cart ride, immediately thought, I need to put this in the next Zelda game. And so he did. If you go through the most recent Zelda game, which is A Link Between Ocarinas, you'll see that one of the hidden dungeons in the game it's very similar to this. It's not the exact same, but you can see clear inspirations that ended up creating this track. So the dragon in this track is actually from a Super Mario World as well, which a lot of these assets are, and he normally is covered in lava, and he attacks you in a volcano. So his name, I believe, there he is right there. You can see his face. So his name. Okay, we're done this track. That was a rip-roaring good time. I think I've got first in all these tracks so far. I haven't really been paying attention. Sometimes you're recording and you're talking at the same time. Very hard to pay attention to what you're doing. A lot of times I'll record stuff while I'm driving. It makes it very difficult to drive, play video games, and talk at the same time. I've found it to actually be something I should stop doing. So this is probably the best track. This or the Hyrule one. Not really sure. It looks so cool. So this is from Sonic Generations, this track. And this is the Eggman stage where you have to chase down Dr. Eggman. And sure enough, this track was actually ripped from Sonic and Racing All-Stars Transformed. So it probably looks pretty similar. I don't... Oh, you get coins for doing that. I never drifted into that before. So yeah, tons of boosts. This really harkens back to the days of yore when you would go to the F-Zero AX arcade in order to unlock the other carts or tracks and characters and stuff. Funny story about that. This is a true story, unlike several of the lies I've been spinning since this recording started. I have F-Zero GX still for the GameCube, and I wanted to unlock everything, but that game is unbelievably hard. Easily the hardest, and I don't play a lot of racing games, like I said. I enjoy very few, this being one of them, F-Zero GX being another one. But that game is just so hard. Like, so unbelievably, ridiculously hard. And so I think in order to unlock everything, you have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty with... I think it's with all the characters or so, I don't even remember. Or you could take your memory card to an F-Zero AX arcade machine, plug it in, and bam, you get them all. So, of course, arcades are basically non-existent in North America, especially Canada. I don't even know where you could find an arcade in Canada right now. But, and this was a very lengthy process, I went to Disney World with my family, and at the Pop Century Resort, they had an F-Zero AX arcade machine. So I thought, oh, hey, this is awesome. Too bad I didn't bring my memory card, because, you know, why would you just do that randomly on a vacation? Years later, we're going back. I'm in my third year of university? I don't remember. And my sister and my mom are coming to pick me up straight from the university, and then we're going to fly out to Disney World. So I asked my sister to please bring my memory card and make sure it's the one with my F-Zero GX save data on it, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, because I had no way to verify the memory card. We were just going straight from my apartment where I was living to the airport. And sure enough, it was the wrong one. Yeah, that's... I know. I'm going to give you a second to let that sink in. It's terrible. Subsequent years, I've gone back once since then. Twice? Twice since then? Once? No, I've only been back once since then. And they didn't have the arcade anymore. So, long story short, I don't have those tracks. I'll never have those tracks, and my life is forever incomplete. There's a hole in my heart now that I fill with alcohol and donuts. So, it looks like that's all the trivia I have for this cup, the Egg Cup. In the next DLC, I believe there's a new one coming out called the Two Girls Cup. There's two girls in one cup? Something like that. And I don't know about it because it doesn't come out till May, I think. But Miyamoto was saying something about it being inspired by a viral video that he has watched several times and has saved to his desktop. So thank you so much for joining me for this romp through these two cups in Mario Kart 8. I actually recorded a full review for this game and have everything from every other cup with every other racer and unlocking all the stamps. Guess what? I never did it. I never released it, I mean. I still have the footage. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, something wrong with you. To be completely honest with you. Amiibos! Oh, those aren't out yet. Yeah. Well, next video I'll probably do will be the Amiibo stuff for Hyrule Warriors, because... yeah, anyway. Thanks for coming, and see you on the flip side. Captain Toad coming out November